So let's talk about Zen. Specifically, we're diving into the wisdom of one of its most important figures, Huineng, the sixth patriarch. Now, he taught that a lot of what we think we know about meditation is actually a trap. We're about to unpack what it really means to have an unbound mind. Okay, so here's our game plan. First up, we're going to tackle the biggest myth about meditation, one that holds so many people back. Then we'll get into this beautiful analogy Huineng uses, the lamp and the light, to understand a much deeper truth. From there, we'll see how this practice isn't just for sitting on a cushion, but for our daily lives. We'll learn about 3 essential mental freedoms, and finally pull it all together to see what it truly means to have a mind that's unbound. Ready? Let's go. All right, let's jump right into part 1, meditation's biggest myth. You've heard it a million times, right? To meditate, you have to empty your mind, stop all your thoughts. But what if that very idea, the one we're all chasing, is actually a trap, leading us in the completely wrong direction? So let's just ask the question head on. Do you really have to empty your mind to meditate? Is the goal to just become a total blank slate with 0 thoughts? I mean, for so many of us, this is the biggest hurdle. We sit down, we try to stop our thoughts, we can't, and then we feel like we're just failing at meditation. Sound familiar? Well, Huineng had a pretty strong take on this. He said that trying to force your mind into this state of nothingness is basically turning yourself into an inanimate object, like a rock or a chair. It's lifeless. It's a dead end, he says, not enlightenment. So if the goal isn't to become a rock, what's the alternative? What does a living practice look like? And that right there brings us to the absolute heart of Huineng's teaching. It's this beautiful, powerful concept he calls the lamp and the light. This is where we learn to unite stillness and wisdom. Instead of treating them like 2 separate things, you have to get one after the other. Okay, so in his teaching, there are these 2 key ideas. Ding, which is stillness, and hui, which is wisdom. Now, I want you to think of stillness, ding, as the physical body of a lamp, and wisdom, hui, is the light that the lamp gives off. See, the common mistake we all make is thinking you have to achieve perfect stillness first, and only then, like magic, wisdom will suddenly appear. But Huineng's insight here is just so simple and honestly profound. He says, look, you can't have a lamp without its light, and you can't have light without the lamp that creates it. They aren't 2 separate things you go out and acquire. They're just 2 sides of the same coin. Stillness is the substance, and wisdom is its natural function. So here's the bottom line, the crucial point. True meditation is not a 2-step process. It's not get still, then get wise. No, it's the simultaneous experience of both. When your mind is truly still, wisdom is just there. It's naturally present. And when you're exercising wisdom, stillness is its foundation. They are totally inseparable. Okay, so if meditation isn't about just sitting there like a stone, what does it actually look like in real life? That brings us to our next idea, the mind in motion. This is all about taking the practice way, way beyond the cushion. Huineng really goes after the popular image of a meditator, the one who sits rigidly for hours on end. He calls this idea a great error. And his reasoning is pretty simple. Life isn't static, right? Life is movement, it's action, it's engaging with the world. So a practice that only works when you're perfectly still, well, that's not really a practice for living, is it? So what's his alternative? He calls it one practice samadhi. Sounds fancy, but what is it? It's simply about maintaining a straightforward, direct, and sincere mind in everything you do. Whether you're walking to work, sitting in a meeting, or just lying down at night, the practice is always right there, available to you. It's about the quality of your mind, not your physical posture. And this reveals a really subtle trap. Getting stuck on any idea, any method, even getting attached to the thought, I am meditating right now, is what Huineng calls self-bondage. You're literally tying yourself up with your own concepts. True freedom is a mind that just flows, totally unstuck and unobstructed. So, how do we actually do this? How do we cultivate this flowing, unobstructed mind? Well, Huineng gives us a really practical toolkit, which we can call the 3 freedoms. These are the core principles of his entire practice. First up, we have no form. Now, this doesn't mean you go blind or that you don't see the world. Not at all. It means you see everything, people, objects, situations, but you do it without getting tangled up in your own labels and judgments about them. You can engage with all the forms of the world, but you aren't captured by their outward appearance. The second freedom is no abiding. This is really the heart of a mind in motion. Look, thoughts, feelings, sensations, they're gonna arise. That's what minds do. The practice here is to let them come and then let them go, without building a nest, without getting stuck on any single one. Your mind becomes like a clear stream. Everything just flows right through it without getting snagged. And finally, we get to the big one, the most misunderstood concept of them all, no thought. This is the ultimate myth buster. No thought is not, I repeat, not about stopping your thoughts. It's about not being stained or contaminated by your thoughts. It's the ability to think, to plan, to remember, but without that thought creating a ripple of craving or anger or confusion that clouds your fundamental awareness. So, just to be super clear, no thought has nothing to do with turning off your brain. It's not about eliminating awareness or trying to become some kind of blank slate. And like we heard before, it's the total opposite of being a dead object. It's a much, much more subtle and dynamic way of being. And Huning does not mince words about how dangerous it is to get this wrong. He says that if you actually succeed in cutting off all your thoughts, in that moment, you essentially die. You've cut yourself off from the living, breathing, dynamic function of your own mind. Again, he calls this a great error. This practice is about embracing life, not shutting it down. And all of this brings us to our final section, where we're going to put all these pieces together. The goal here isn't some rigid, controlled mental state. The goal is a mind that is truly and radically free, a mind unbound. This really is the heart of Huning's entire teaching. The whole point of this practice is not to create a silent mind, but a free mind. A mind that can fully participate in all the messiness and complexity of life, thinking, feeling, acting, without ever being imprisoned by any of it. Huning describes this state so perfectly. It's the ability to, as he says, skillfully discern all things, to see the world with incredible clarity and engage with it completely. And yet, at your very core, you remain unmoving in the ultimate reality. You're stable, you're grounded, and you are free. So this kind of leaves us with a final question to chew on. If this practice isn't a battle, if your thoughts aren't enemies you have to defeat, but are more like guests just passing through your awareness, then who or what is the one that's watching them all come and go?